Hello everyone and welcome. Sorry that this is running a little bit of late to anybody watching. So we are doing Genesis right now. We're in the book of Genesis, and we are today, as the title suggests, we will be doing Genesis chapter 9 and Genesis chapter 10. So let's begin. So this is after the flood. This is after they're in the ark. It floods for the amount of time, 40 days and 40 nights. And they're in the ark, and then they get done, and he sends out the raven, sends out the dove. The dove doesn't come back, so he gets out, and then he builds and we left off where he built an altar to the Lord, and he puts this offering thing to God, and he builds this thing, and God says, "No more will I do this. No more will I flood the earth." So God blessed Noah, and we begin in chapter 9, right after, as God is responding to what Noah is doing to build an altar and to take of all the clean animals and birds and stuff and make an offering to the Lord on that altar. So God blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth." So now we have God saying that to man, okay? "And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be on every beast of the earth." In other words, you shall have dominion, and animals will rightfully be afraid of you. So the fear of you, that should be basically what it means. They know, that's what it's basically saying. The fear of you, meaning the fear of mankind, and the dread of you, meaning, oh my goodness, when mankind comes around, we know what's going to happen. They're going to kill us. Okay, be on every beast of the earth and every bird of the air and all that move on the earth and on all the fish of the sea. They are given into your hands. Okay. Every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. Okay. And that is a good verse that is a good verse. That is a good verse to know. That is so when you come across people in the Bible, come across people that say you're a meat eater and that is wrong. Okay, if you're a meat eater, you give them that verse. Every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. I have given you all these things, even as the green herbs. Okay, so he's given us green herbs to eat, green leafy vegetables, things like that. All sorts of vegetables we can eat. Now, this would, if you're paying attention, this would tie you to what Jesus says, that it's not what goes into a man that makes a man unclean, it's what comes out. Okay? And as he's saying this, that you can eat of everything, every moving thing, moving means it moves, it's alive. Okay? And he says, "But you shall not eat flesh with its life, that is, its blood." So you're not to eat flesh that has blood in it. Okay? "Surely for your life blood, I will demand a reckoning. From the hand of every beast I will require it. And from the hand of man, from the hand of every man's brother, I will require the life of man." So in other words, you're not supposed to eat stuff that still has its blood in it. So one of the things that an example of this is when you see lions or alligators or hyenas, and they're sitting there and they're actually eating on an animal while it's still alive. Now, obviously, eating anything with blood in it is nasty, okay? But there's more to it than that. It's unhealthy, first of all, because you don't know what's in that blood. You know what I mean? If I just get any sort of piece of meat that I find and it's bloody, I don't know how long it's been sitting out for. I don't know what contaminated, what germs, what diseases are in that blood that's in that meat. You know what I mean? This is why you cook meats. This is why we cook meats. This is why eating anything raw is very bad for you and very dangerous. Because you never know what you could catch from it, okay? The word lifeblood means that the blood is still pumping. It's still going, okay? And it continues to say, whoever sheds man's blood, right? Whoever kills a man, by man his blood shall be shed. So this is why we have the death penalty, okay? If you kill another man, death penalty is we take your life, okay? This is why we have such things as death penalty, death row, okay? Now, by letting murderers live in prison for the rest of their life, that's actually going against this, okay? God is saying, hey, if you kill someone, you should die. But he's not saying it by me. Whoever sheds man's blood, right? By man, meaning through the cause of mankind, his blood shall be shed as well. Meaning the blood of the one who killed someone. So if I go and I kill my brother, like with the idea was if in putting it in this verse, right? Cain killed Abel, right? Therefore, it should be Cain that is dead by the hand of mankind. Okay? And he says, for in the image of God, he made man. And as for you, be fruitful, multiply, bring forth abundantly in the earth and multiply in it. So multiply your children, have tons of children, have tons of grandchildren, multiply the earth. Okay? Now, we've done a really good job of doing that, to be honest with you. I think there's something like 8-9 billion people on the planet. So we've done a very good job. Then God spoke to Noah directly and to his sons with him. So this is the second time he's talking. Okay, first time, all things are for yours to eat. Okay. So the second time he says, and as for me, behold, I establish my covenant with you and with your descendants after you. So I'm making a covenant with you, a bond, a verbal promise, as not just with you and those with you, but your descendants after you, meaning all your descendants. And when he says descendants after you, there's no time limit to that, okay? Which is why still to this day, we see that same covenant, okay? But that covenant is not just with man. Listen to this. The covenant that he made was not just with man. It says, I establish my covenant with you and with your descendants after you, right? And with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the cattle, and every beast of the earth with you, of all that go into the ark, meaning everything that's in the ark, that's what I'm giving my covenant to. Every beast of the earth as well. Thus I establish my covenant with you. And what is his covenant? Never again shall all flesh be cut off, meaning be killed, by the waters of the flood. So not to say that never again will all flesh die. No. He said, never again will it die by the means of waters of the flood. Meaning, I will never flood the earth again to kill everything. You know, an example of this would be, he doesn't say here, oh, an asteroid may not, I'm not going to stop an asteroid from coming to the planet. You know what I mean? Because this only establishes that God said, I will never kill all mankind, all flesh, all living things, by the method of flooding the earth. Okay? Cut off by the waters of the flood, in other words. Never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth. So if he wasn't clear enough in the first statement, he makes it clear in the second statement. And there shall be a flood to destroy the earth. There shall never again be a flood to destroy the earth. Okay? And God said, this is the sign of the covenant. So if you ever wonder about the covenant that I've made with you, if you ever wonder if it's true or not, just look for this sign. You will see it constantly. This is the sign of the covenant, which I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you, for perpetual generations, meaning for all the generations to come. Okay? I set my rainbow in the clouds. So the rainbow, the actual rainbow, that's a promise. That's God's promise to mankind to never flood the earth again. Okay? And it shall be for the sign of the covenant between me and the earth as well. So it's between me and you, it's to all the generations to come, and it's to the earth as well. Everything that came out of the ark. Mankind, animals, birds, fish, everything. Okay. It shall be when I bring a cloud over the earth that the rainbow shall be seen in the clouds. Okay. No, she's dropping the verses. The first two verses I'll give is Romans 14:20, which is not dash but comma 20. The second one, which we saw when it said, for every hand of every man's brother I will require the life of man. Earlier, that was Acts chapter 17, verse 26. Okay, so Acts chapter 17, verse 26 was there. We're a little bit after that right now. Okay, the rainbow shall be in the cloud, and I will. So he's saying the rainbow will be of the cloud. So basically, when the clouds of the earth come, that's what's going to bring the rainbow. What basically is meaning is, scientifically speaking, as a person who loves science, right? How are rainbows formed? Rainbows are formed through rain, right? That's what it is. It's the sunlight hitting the rain at a very specific angle, and the light piercing the rain and bouncing off of the rain particles and then hitting your eye, and your eye seeing it at a very specific spot where you're standing. And that's what you see as the rainbow. Okay? And in order to have the rain, what do you have to have? Clouds. Okay? That's why he says this. When I bring cloud over the earth, that the rainbow shall be seen in the cloud, and I will remember my covenant. Not that he's going to forget my covenant, but this is more like, the word remember here is more related to reminded. I am reminded of it. I am reminded about it. Okay? I will remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living creature of all the flesh. The waters shall never again, the waters, meaning the waters of the earth, shall never again become a flood to destroy all flesh. The rainbow shall be in the cloud, and I will look on it, meaning the rainbow, to remember, to remind myself of the everlasting covenant, the covenant that is for all time, okay, between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on the earth. In other words, all living things. And God said to Noah, so he continues to say, Noah, this is the sign of the covenant which I have established between me and all the flesh that is on the earth. Okay? Now, the sons of Noah who went out of the ark. So now they're getting technical about who was in the ark with them a little bit. Was Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Okay? Ham was the father of Canaan. These three were the sons of Noah. These three guys. Okay? Ham, Japheth, and Shem. Those were the sons of Noah. And from these, the whole earth was populated. Okay? And Noah began to be a farmer, and he planted a vineyard. So he became a farmer. Why is farming important? Okay? Why is farming important, you say? Why is it important? Okay? God is a farmer. He farms our hearts. He plants seeds in our life, in our hearts of faith. And those seeds grow as a tree. So it would make sense that one of the first things that would be established is a farmer. Not to mention, remember, the waters covered everything. Now, maybe there could have been some trees that survived the flood. We don't know. But 40 days underwater, that would kill almost any plant. Okay, but there are plants that can grow underwater. But anyway, Noah began to be a farmer. Now, there's another reason that is, I believe. And part of it is because in farming, you can learn the relationship about God's relationship with us. Okay, so as you're farming, you can learn much about your own relationship with God, as in you're the plant that's being grown, or your faith is the plant being grown, or your emotions, or the plant itself is you, and God is the farmer. So you're basically taking on the role of God in that form. Okay, think about it. Farmers, what do? They till the ground, right? They till the ground and move the ground around so that they can plant the seed. God does the same in our lives. He tills the ground of our hearts around until our hearts are ready to be planted with the seed of faith. Okay. Then a farmer plants the seed. God plants the seed in your life, in your heart. Okay. Then the farmer covers it with the soil a little bit. Okay. Covers it with God's forgiveness. Yes, I see your comments. Yes, I see your comments. Thank you, little mama. Anyway, so God covers it with love and care and kindness and patience, and he waits for it to grow. Then the plant grows with water, God's kindness, God's mercy, God's love, sunshine, and as it grows, it pulls in the nutrients. As it grows, you pull in the things of God in order to help make you stronger and make you grow, right? So God's pouring out, kind of like the rain, right? His love and mercy and grace into your life, and you're receiving it as a plant would, and to grow and to mature, okay? And you're taking advantage of all these things that God's blessing you with in order to grow yourself into a bigger tree or a bigger plant, okay? And you grow and you grow and you grow, and there's a purpose for you to grow, which is to be harvested at the right time, okay? And the same thing, we produce more fruit, trees produce more fruit, plants produce whatever kind of plant they are. So like a tomato plant is going to eventually grow tomatoes, right? An apple tree is going to eventually grow apples. A lemon tree is going to eventually grow lemons, right? So you're a plant that's being grown by God. Eventually you're going to produce what God wants. Now there is a key to that, because Satan does come along and try. Satan is like the insects, the pests, the pests, the insects, the animals that come along and try to eat away at what's being planted, so that it basically becomes wasted. Okay. And it's just the same. Like when you're a farmer and you're growing things, eventually you either have to cover your plants and stuff with pesticides that will kill the pests and kill the vermin that try to eat on your plants, but won't kill the plants, right? Or you have to come up with some sort of ingenious thing, right? This is why corn growers will plant a scarecrow to scare away the crows from eating the corn. Okay. So he became a farmer, and he planted what? A vineyard. Fruit of the vine, a vineyard. Okay. Then he drank of the wine. So he became, as he's growing this vineyard, and he's mashing down the grapes and turning it into wine, right? He drank of the wine. That's talking about Noah. Okay. And he became uncovered. So he got drunk. What is the first problem? Noah got too drunk. Moderation is the key. If you're drinking, moderation is the key. I drink on the weekend, on Friday night usually, and Saturday, sometime during Saturday, I will have a glass of wine for each day. A glass of wine. That is not going beyond moderation. Okay? Moderation would be like I'm gonna have 6, 7, 8, 9 glasses of wine, or hard alcohol, or anything like that. So moderation is the key. Okay? That is why, and that should immediately connect you to the Bible verses where God says everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. And it should also connect you to the Bible verses that talk about self-control. That you should learn to be in control of your own body. Okay? Anyway, so for whatever reason, whether it was good or bad, Noah became drunk off the wine that he drank. Okay? And he became uncovered, not in public, not out in the world, but in his tent. Okay? In his tent, in privacy. Okay? And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father. So for whatever reason, Ham went into the tent and he saw that his father was probably butt naked. Okay? And he told his 2 brothers outside. So he went outside and, hey, our father's completely naked. Now there's no trust. You know what I mean? He's not showing any kind of respect or trust that he's going to spread it with his brothers. Okay? That kind of spreading things only brings shame. Okay? Embarrassment, things like that. Because think about it. There's really not much reason that Ham would have for going to tell his brothers other than to bring shame to his father. Okay? So Ham's going, hey brothers, you're not going to believe this. Our dad is drunk off his butt. He's in his tent. He's in a private place, but he's naked as hell. And he is drunk and he's naked. Okay? So Ham said this to his 2 brothers. But Shem and Japheth took a garment. So they took clothing and laid it on both their shoulders. So they put it on their shoulders, right? Over their shoulders. And they went backwards into the tent. They didn't want to look on their father being naked. You know, let's just be honest. No child does. No child wants to see their parent naked. It's disgusting. It's not something you want to see. Okay? Trust me when I say this. No child wants to see that. Okay? So they're walking in backwards. Kind of like, I don't want to look. Okay? And they walk in backwards. Okay? And they cover the nakedness of their father. They go, okay, right about here. So then they drop the covering onto their father. Okay? And their faces were turned away. And they did not see their father's nakedness. So they didn't see his nakedness. Only Ham did. Okay? So Noah awoke from his wine. And we don't know if this happened as they were doing it or if this happened later. But nevertheless, at some point he woke up from his wine and knew what his younger son had done to him. Okay, he knew what his younger son had done, that they had seen him naked. Because he's going, I fell asleep naked. How is it that I got something covering me? Because I don't remember doing it to myself, right? Then he said, cursed by Canaan, a servant of servants, he shall be to his brothers. So he's saying Ham, the father of Canaan, okay, cursed by Canaan, the father of, so Ham, and he's saying this to Ham, but he might also be saying this to Canaan, okay, cursed by Canaan, a servant of servants, he shall be to his brethren. Now, to me, that's talking about Ham because it says to his brethren, meaning to his brothers. That Ham and Ham's people should serve the people of Shem and Japheth. Okay? And he said, blessed be the Lord, the God of Shem. So he's calling down a curse of servitude on Ham, but he's blessing Shem and Japheth. Okay? So notice that. He's calling down a curse on Ham for the fact that Ham went out and tried to embarrass him, okay, by telling his brothers. And his brothers who were just trying to do the right thing, okay. That's why they went in backwards. They didn't want to look or gaze on their father's nakedness. They went in backwards to cover him, okay. And to his brothers, which are Shem and Japheth, here's what Noah says. Blessed be the Lord, the God of Shem, and may Canaan, who's the Canaan who is the child of Ham, be his servant. May God enlarge Japheth. This does not mean make Japheth become a fat man, or make Japheth become a giant. No. That's talking about the people that come from Japheth. May God make the people that come from Japheth enlarged. And may he dwell in the tents of Shem. So may Japheth, okay, be united together with the people of Shem. Okay. And may Canaan, the people of Canaan, be the servants. And that's where we see the Ephesians verses pop up that you see on the screen. And Noah lived after the flood for 350 years. So all the days of Noah were 950 years. And then he died. So he actually did die. Okay? This is normal. Now, chapter 10. There is no verses for little mama to drop. So she gets to have a relaxation and just listen. Okay? Now, this is the genealogy of the sons of Noah. What genealogy means is the preceding people that come from that line of people. So basically, the peoples that come from Noah, which are Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Okay? In other words, it's very simple. The genealogy of all mankind that came from the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Okay? The sons were born to them after the flood. Okay? So the sons of Japheth were Gomer, okay, Magog, Madai, Javan, if I'm saying that right, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras. Okay, those are the sons of Japheth. Okay. Now we're moving into the sons of Gomer. The sons of Gomer were Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. Okay. So that's the sons of Gomer, the first set. Okay. The sons of Javan, who was one of the sons of Japheth, the sons of Javan were Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. Okay. For these, the coastland. For these, the coastland, meaning the land that's near the waters. Okay. The coastland people of the Gentiles were separated into their lands. Everyone according to his language, according to their families, into their nations. Okay. So basically people start spreading out. So that's the sons of Japheth. The sons of Ham were Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. So the Canaanites, in other words. The sons of Cush were Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Ramah, and Sabtekha. Okay. And the sons of Ramah were Sheba and Dedan. Okay. Now, Cush became the father of Nimrod. Okay. Nimrod, he began to be a mighty one on the earth. Okay, so now they're talking about Nimrod. Nimrod was a mighty one on earth. He was a mighty hunter. He hunted animals. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. So even though he killed animals, he was mighty before the Lord. So this was like, I'm an obedient hunter. I want to be a very wise hunter. I want to give all respect and honor for the animals to God. So this would be a hunter that, yes, takes the lives of animals to eat, but respects that life came from God. And God is the one that gives that life. Okay? He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Therefore, it is said of Nimrod, like Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. So this is a saying that started spreading around in the Old Testament. Okay? A saying that they would use when they would describe people that both hunted and still followed the ways of the Lord. They called him like Nimrod. You're like Nimrod. You're like Nimrod. Okay? And the Lord, and the beginning of his kingdom, okay, the beginning of his kingdom, meaning Nimrod's kingdom, was Babal, Erech, Ekkad, and Canaan in the land of Shinar. Okay? From that land, he went to Assyria and built Nineveh. Okay, so who built Nineveh? Nimrod. And he built Rehoboth, and he built and he also built Calah and Resen. The Resen is the city between Nineveh and Calah. Okay, that was the principal city. It was established as a very good city. Okay, Mizraim became the father of Ludim. Okay, and I'm trying to look back to see whom Mizraim. I know it was in that list, so it's okay, Mizraim. So now they're talking about Mizraim. Mizraim was the son of Ham, the one that embarrassed his father. Okay, so Mizraim became the father of Ludim, Anamim, Lehabim, and see if I say this one right, Nephtuhim, as well as Pathrusim and Casluhim, from whom, so from the Pathrusim and from Casluhim, from whom came the Philistines, and the Caphtorim. Okay. Canaan, who was also from the sons of Ham, became the father of Sidon, his firstborn, and Heath. The Jebusite, the Amorite, and the Girgashite, the Hivite, and the Arkite, and the Sinite, the Arvadite, the Zemarite, and the Hamathite. Afterward, the families of the Canaanites were dispersed. Okay. And the border of Canaanites was from Sidon as you go towards Gerar, as far as Gaza. Then as you go towards Sodom and Gomorrah, remember that? So do you see the connection? The people of Ham eventually became the descendants of Ham eventually became the peoples that resided in Sodom and Gomorrah. And Ham was the one that tried to bring shame upon Noah. Okay? For being naked. So a curse came down. See, now it's making a lot of sense. The descendants of Ham, who made the mistake, who called down the curse from Noah, eventually became the peoples that were involved in Sodom and Gomorrah, as well as many of these other cities that don't sound like they had very good future. Okay, these were the sons of Ham, according to their families, according to the languages in their lands and in their nations. And children were born also to Shem. Okay, children were born also to Shem, the father of all the children of Eber, the brother of Japheth, the elder. So Japheth was the oldest. The sons of Shem were Elam, Esser, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram. The sons of Aram were Uz. And if you remember, one of the names in the Bible, one of the peoples came from the land of Uz, if you remember. I'm pretty sure little mama will remember that, who was born in Uz. I forget the name of the person, but there was somebody that was born in Uz that came later. Anyway, Geter, and Mash. Okay. Fz became the father of Selah, and Selah begot Eber, meaning Selah became the father of Eber. To Eber were born two sons. The name of one was Peleg, for in his days the earth was divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. Joktan became the father of Amodad, Shilef, Hazarmaveth, and Jirah, Hadoram, Uzal, and Diklah, Abal, Abimael, and Sheba, as well as Aphir, Havilah, and Jobab. All these were the sons of Joktan, and the dwelling place was from Misha, as you go towards Sephar, the mountains of the east. These were the sons of Shem, according to their families, according to their languages in all their nations. These were the families of the sons of Noah, according to their generations in their nations, and from the nations were divided on the earth after the flood. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, we just hit the end of chapter 10. I see you tomorrow. This will be Thursday for me, for chapter 11, which will bring us to the Tower of Babel. Okay? The Tower of Babel. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, take care and be blessed. Have a great day.